You familiar with meditation, David? New to it. Nice. That's the best. We're all new. I'm also new to it. There is only new, actually. There's no stages, to be honest. It's only you do develop the ability to sit for longer. You are the same being that you are in your first meditation as you are in your 101st meditation, in your 1,001st meditation. You're the same being. That doesn't change. The magic of meditation is to realize that which does not change, that which is always present. And that has no stages, no process even. It can seem like a contradiction, but it's a kind of no process process. It's a non-doing doing. It's a not arriving, but yet putting effort. And usually we put effort into something that we are going to attain or somewhere we are going to reach. In meditation, just as you said, I am new, or relatively new, and I said you always remain new, you're actually realizing what has always been there, that never developed, never became a part of our conditioning process. And that's something so original, but not original as in personality. We think we are original in the way we act, in the way we think, in the way we behave, in the way we interact. But it's not that original. You'll always find someone to relate to because we follow certain patterns. So what is original cannot be that which is of the personality. The personality copies patterns. The child learns how to behave according to all various influences in their life. And they shape their personality around those influences. A lot of it is survival and resourcefulness and creativity and all those influences we create, literally, a person. And there's nothing wrong with that. It has to happen, and it's beautiful that it happens. Only we also create the other side of it, or a part of that is also that person speaks back to us in a negative way very often. I'm not good enough. I haven't yet reached. Am I loved? I'm afraid. So all of that also comes with the person that is created, because the whole person is created. Therefore, it is essentially unstable because it's created out of a sense to exist as an individual. And this existence as an individual is essentially going to fail. One day we won't be this individual. And somehow that underlies our experience as we are, as people. And the meditation starts to tune you into what is truly original. What is that awareness before the thought? So we use thinking in meditation not to control thinking, and meditation is not at all about controlling thinking or suppressing thinking. But we use thinking because that's something that will continue even if we sit and close our eyes. Thinking will continue. So we use what's there as a kind of marker to make a study. Let's make a study of this. What is thinking? And who is aware of thinking? Ordinarily, we go into thinking. We're not doing a very conscious practice of being aware that the awareness is not actually bound in thinking. We think and therefore feel bound or free. But freedom will be temporary and lead to a sense of not being free. If I gain something, for example, someone gives me some money, I go, yay, I can buy a new car. And I'm free now because I have the money to buy a car and I have the money to travel, and I'm high because I got something. After some time, I have to find money now to maintain the car because the car may start to rust, or the car may break down, or I need new wheels, or so now I have to maintain that I attained. And that's with everything, has to be maintained. Everything that we got that was a big yay then becomes a source of feeling burdened. And that's the play of all that which we attain. And meditation starts to examine, and it is a really clear examining ability that we can cultivate. What is that which is before the thought? Or who am I before the thought? Before the desire for a car arose, and before the reaction to the desire being met arose, and before the desire being disappointed or feeling now burdened arose, what is that awareness? And that's what's examined through the meditation, just simply observing thinking. What is that power that observes the thinking? So, all these people, as yourself, have been making this experiment, myself also. So today I thought it would be really nice to ask our wonderful olden spirit, or wise and ancient and established ever themselves in spirit, but young in bodies, volunteers from Strathleen. I thought this is their last satsang for some time, maybe. Although you're always welcome to return. And you're always welcome to jump online anytime you need to. So I just thought they have been here making this experiment and making the study of what is awareness, what is unchanging awareness, what is the ever-present original awareness. So I'd love to hear anything that you have to say, or anything you would like to ask that you can take with you on your journey. So you're saying what you have discovered is previously you would meditate when you feel good, want to. Right.
Is good to
Mm-hmm.
as well.
But here you. What would cause you not to want to meditate? What would be an example?
If I was like feeling upset about the situation beforehand, the last thing I'm going to do.
Right. So what's the benefit if the mind gets upset? What's the benefit of sitting there with them?
Well, I mean, that they're not your thoughts.
Lovely. What's the advantage of having that perspective?
From nowadays, as well, you observed it as separate thoughts as someone else on your speak, and different perspective.
Lovely. Can you describe that perspective change a little? I know it's difficult, but try.
Perspective change
is
it's hard to describe.
Exactly, but you are describing it by saying freedom. Ordinarily, one will describe freedom as an experience. I feel free. As human beings, we've associated those two things together. I feel free when, so now you have a feeling of freedom, and now it's conditional. I feel free when I got the car, or when my mood is good. So now you have an association of freedom with some quality or some condition or some experience only when it's in that particular box. And it has to be with a good feeling. And inherently, that's not freedom. Just by describing it in that way, it's obviously not freedom. It's conditional experience. So what you have rightly been able to discern, and this discernment has arisen or become clear to you or revealed to you because of your meditation practice. What is that freedom that it's really hard to describe in words because it's not conditional? It's not a feeling. So freedom, which would be the same with a word like love or joy or peace or bliss, can really only be described as to what it is not, what it has been liberated from. what an amazing study and discovery that you have made in this time. Whatever your body was engaged with, painting or all the events that you did, eating, cooking, cleaning, making beds, and doing all of that. But all along, the study was what you were really there for, to come to this revelation. And now, how when you leave, no one can take that away from you because it's not conditional. That is a revelation that you directly perceived and were able, not just perceived once, you're able to see it work like a formula again and again and again, I imagine, at least several times. So no one can take that freedom away from you. If you can discover a freedom that cannot be taken away from you, your purpose on earth is complete, really. Now that will be challenged. Now, as you go, you'll meet people and you'll get involved in work. I imagine you probably have to take on some kind of work to make some money and to live, and you'll have relationships and you'll experience life in all its ways. And that will all be, when you said perspective shift, the deepest perspective shift is everything that now is ahead of you is a challenge. Can I be established in knowing this unconditional, non-feeling realization of freedom? All the things that are happening, they have to be either things you like or you don't like. Either things that seem favorable to you or seem against you, for you or against you, or somewhere neutral in between. That's a normal waking state way or mental way of seeing experiences. But now your perspective shift has altered. Nothing is happening to me favorably or against me. So now it won't be things are happening to me. Life is being lived. You are not a separate observer of that life. You are life also. Life is happening. Like on a lake, ripples are rippling. You don't say the ripples are rippling, but lake is not rippling. Say the lake is rippling. But you can't take a ripple out of the lake, right? So you can't take Logan out of life. Now you can be at odds with everything, chasing all that which is favorable and pushing away all those things that are unfavorable. And that's an unnecessary way to live your life. Just let's say. I didn't say stupid, but it would be stupid, but it's an unnecessary way to live your life. That now with this perspective shift, as you said, very genuinely, I have perceived a special kind of freedom that cannot be described, and yet you directly perceived it. So previously, you mean when thoughts came, you made them something negative?
Just negative and
yeah.
Just everything.
That it's easier to sit with them because now you're not making them negative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something that my dad's like self-sabotage.
Do you think it's many people's experience, that relationship with their mind?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So why did you say my mind is like that?
It's really meditation is I take myself less seriously.
Lovely.
It's yes, I'm making all these bad things, but it's not that serious.
Wonderful.
I don't do that on myself.
Great.
But then I do kind of like once you become aware of like these negative thoughts and stuff, like who's your next? Like I'm aware of them, but they're still coming.
What do you mean negative thoughts?
Just like getting hard on myself or like feeling guilty or shame for things I've done.
Let's say thoughts are a kind of story, storytelling, and now that story is making you in a bad light. Would that be right? And you're saying, now that I'm realizing I don't have to be put in a bad light with this story, then you're saying, what next? Is that right? She said exactly right, the word person. And this is what has to be examined. As I was saying to David, this person is not original. This was created actually out of your own intelligence. You go to perfect person school. Try and find a perfect person school and go there. What would that look like, a perfect person? Great. So it is possible to be a perfect person, but not in the way maybe you're approaching it. Because you have to see, what is this person? Before you're trying to make it a perfect person, what does it mean to be a person? Can you say any words? What does it mean to be a person?
Yeah, it's kind of what you were talking about and what we were talking about in sex. A lot of experiences and things that you've been through have shaped your personality.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it's something that was shaped, right? Let's take, for example, you take some earth and you put it on a potter's wheel. And now it starts going through a spinning process. That wheel spins, and the potter holds that earth and the spinning momentum, which you can say all human experiences, which are all spinning, morning, noon, night, all of the experiences that come in time are spinning. The potter is holding this clay and starts to shape from clay, which is nondescript, the original substance, clay, and starts to shape a jug. Puts that jug aside, puts it in the kiln, takes another piece of clay from the same block of clay, puts it on the kiln, shapes a cup, puts it in the kiln, shapes a plate, puts all those shapes into the kiln and then decorates them, puts some glaze on them, maybe some ornaments on them, makes them look very beautiful, and then sells them. Now they become valuable. There was no value to the clay, or very less, only value to the potter. Just clay, something we walk on. But now to the potter had some value, but from that clay, he made something valuable, something precious even maybe. And then he sells that vase, maybe made a very beautiful vase, and a rich person came along and said, whoa, I like that vase, and paid him a lot of money and took that vase home. And now says to the children in the family, don't go into that room with all the precious things in it. That's the room that the children are not allowed to go and play in, because all the precious things are in there. And if you play in there, you'll break them. I had this thing when I was young, because it was told to me that I wasn't allowed to go into this room, which was in a kind of another wing of the house. We used to use more like the back door that went to the kitchen and the family room and where the backyard was and all that. And then there was the front door, which we never went to. Only visitors came in through the front door. And to the right of the front door was this forbidden room with all these precious things. And to the left of that room was the dining room, which we never sat at because we had another table for family. So only when they had dinner parties, they sat in that room. So that whole section of the house was kind of like the forbidden place to go. So where do kids want to go? They want to go to the forbidden place. So I used to go into that room, and I would sit in that room, and there was a Chinese statue. This will come back to your point in a moment. This is a little aside. There was a Chinese statue about this big. I would stare at the statue. I don't know where I got the idea from, but also there was a sense in that room, like you go into a cathedral or something, a museum, it's like you can't be rowdy in there. Suddenly you're hushed. They're designed like that. So they make the big high ceilings so you feel intimidated in them. So I'd go into this room and I would stare and stare and stare at this Chinese statue. And then at some point I would transcend. I didn't know what that meant at that time. And I would just suddenly, I would feel a sense that I was vast and infinite and like smaller than an atom at the same time. It's like a whoosh. And then I'd close my eyes and my whole body would tingle. And then okay. And then I'd run out. You did that too? So that was a kind of habit I would do every now and then. And I didn't understand what it was. And then when I went and I met my guru and I started meditating again, transcendence again came. I'd feel that again. But one time when I was in this forbidden room, there was also, was that? Yeah, porcelain. Oh, is that what it was? Porcelain. So one of these times when I went, I didn't transcend. I thought, this is a good place to do cartwheels. And I started doing cartwheels. And of course, I broke this precious ornament. My mum was beside herself that I had broken this ridiculous looking thing. So now, you see, when the jug is broken, one cries. Now I had broken this precious thing, which means the value suddenly was blown, was nowhere. Someone had given immense value, not to earth, but to a shape of earth. And now it had to be kept somewhere precious. It had to be preserved. No one could go there. You had to preserve it. You had to somehow keep it from being broken. And ultimately, it's going to get broken. And that's the person. It's not the original being. The original being is like clay. It's the same original being in that ridiculous figurine, the same in that Chinese statue, the same in a jug, the same in a bowl. It's all clay. And who you really are is like clay. You are everywhere in all of it. And out of that clay shaped Phoebe, a name, just Phoebe, two sounds, Phoebe. And you say, I am Phoebe. But now Phoebe has to be preserved. Her identity has to be preserved. So you'll only want to be with those people who love Phoebe, and you'll feel but not fully secure in being loved by Phoebe. Even if someone says, I love you only, I love you always, whatever you want, I will do for you. If you ever find such a person that says that, that's the ultimate. You're a perfect figurine, and I will cherish you, and I promise that you will not break. Even if someone could do that, do you think it will work? Why not?
Because there's always the possibility that it will be missing.
That's it. Because there's an intelligence, the same intelligence that created your person maintains the intelligence that the person will be broken. Ultimately, this will be broken. All of it will be broken. And that intelligence remains throughout. And if you don't start to examine that kind of intelligence, what that means, that intelligence, it's not the kind of intelligence that you learned at school. If you understand that is intelligence, it's called consciousness, pure consciousness. If you start to realize that, you say, the pure consciousness made Phoebe. Now, does Phoebe enter into fear and worry to try and preserve the form of Phoebe, the image of Phoebe? Or does that creative intelligence go deep to understand Phoebe as clay can never be broken? No matter how many beautiful love poems are spoken to Phoebe by the most perfect human being, Phoebe is never going to feel secure and perfect unless Phoebe knows Phoebe. The amazing thing about it is your personality then will mirror the bliss or the peace that you find in yourself that comes with knowing the original Phoebe, the original you, the clay. Knowing yourself as clay, you will actually become a perfect person. But you will never become a perfect person as the ornament, because the ornament can be broken. And you will then do all kinds of outrageous things to preserve that, even at the expense of being bad to someone else, because that's the instinct.
When you shouldn't try to find, you should just stick with whatever the prices always. Because there's also that aspect of like control from your perspective.
You have to know what is thought and who are you. So there is a shaping of that kind. You're not shaping your thoughts as such, but you can shape the way you know you. And that's a very intensive study and a very conscious study. Who am I? And if you know who am I, and as Logan directly perceived, it can't be described, but once it is seen, you cannot deny it. So to know yourself is to say that you see your behavior. If you bring more importance, more value to you that sees, the seer, than your behavior, this perspective shift will start to reveal all that you need to know. So you're sitting here now and you're creating, if I do that, will I experience that? If I meditate, how is it that I will experience myself perfectly? You can't imagine with your mind how it is that you will experience yourself perfectly. Do the work to know yourself. And just as Logan experienced, something starts to shift inside. And then you're like, right, praise or criticism is to my body or to my personality, but never to me. Even there's that childhood rhyme that is based actually in wisdom. 6 and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. What is a name? Word? It's a word. A name is a sound. Can a sound hurt me? Which means, does all those ripples, all those thoughts, which are just sounds, thoughts are just sounds, do they hurt me? Can they make me something? Am I made because of a sound? Am I made because of a thought? No. So practice that, and then instead of bargaining, saying, well, if I practice this, what will be the outcome? Practice it, and the outcome will start to reveal itself. Always be discerning. So yes, you have to shape the way that you see, I would say, rather than what you think. Do never identify yourself with the thoughts, but always identify it's a strong counteractive force. Identify who you are as pure awareness, pure being. But that has no form. So it's not going to be just instantaneous. Oh, there it is. Pure being, pure consciousness, pure bliss. I see it because it's not objective to you. It's subject. So it takes a little time, and that's what meditation does. And meditation shifts the identification from all that which you have become an object, and your body and your personality becomes objects for other people to either praise or criticize. And you will never ever feel secure there. You'll never find perfection there. You'll never find a perfect Phoebe there, but you can find a perfect self. You can, you really can. And it's perfect because it is not affected by all the ripples, all the shapes, all the experiences, all the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the thoughts, the ideas, the relationships, the experiences. Clay throughout. I am. I'm throughout. And the quality, it gives you a hint now to how to identify with the clay that you are. It is pure, meaning it's unmixed from anything that is experienced. It is free, the kind of freedom that Logan experienced, not conditional to a mood and not conditional to an if and when and but. It's pure, free, and it does not come and go. If it comes and goes, it's a personality. It's the jug. So always return your attention to what is original, what is described as unchanging awareness. Just keep doing that work and you'll watch how it serves you. And you'll be tested again and again. That's what I said to Logan. But that becomes now interesting, as Jaya has discovered. We were having a nice talk yesterday about it. Everything now that arises in her life, rather than, oh God, something bad happened or something frustrating happened, now it's like, oh, something has come to test. Am I going to identify with that which is breakable, that which has been given value due to its shape, or am I going to identify with that which has no shape, it's formless, but so free that it is not dependent on any shape at all? She got it. It's your life's work. That's all you need to know. Just work on that. Take that with you.